Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I decided to take a little bit of a break from getting batches today to kind of give you guys some beginner tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. We're in the middle of the blizzard of the decade out here in New Jersey, so there were tons and tons of batches to choose from. But I was like, nah, I'm not going to do any of that today. Instead, I'm going to compile a list and kind of give anybody who's beginning just like me just a little bit of tips that I've learned to make it less of a stressful process shopping for people. Also, just things to kind of get you out of a bind. So sit back, relax, and I hope it helps you out. Here we go. Please bring a water bottle. I know this seems super trivial and super just kind of like, why? But I've learned this the hard way. I remember I was shopping for someone and it was about an hour and a half that it took me in the store. And I hadn't drank anything all day. And you don't realize how dehydrated you get going around the store, picking up items. Some things are heavy, some things, you have to rush to, so you're getting your cardio in, and you don't realize how dehydrated you get. So I was completing a whole batch, and by the middle of it, so about 45 minutes in, I could barely like swallow because I was so thirsty and so dehydrated, and it just made the rest of the shopping trip miserable. So that's kind of like my little bonus tip. So I'm starting off with that one because some of you might do this already, but for me it was definitely something that I had to learn along the way. So always bring a water bottle or some Gatorade or something to keep you hydrated, so that your shopping trip is a lot more relaxed and comfortable, and you can get it done with no issues. Please try your best to not cancel on batches. I know you get about 30 or so where you can cancel, just, if you're new to the app and you just end up accepting batches by mistake, or all different kinds of reasons. You may have car trouble, you may have forgotten your bags or your card. You get about 30 before they start penalizing you for cancellations. But even with that, I would not cancel on people as much as possible. I actually have a funny story. I Going back to tip number one, I was super dehydrated for this other batch that I did, I think the next day. And I was about like down the street from the store, so I was almost there, and I was like, you know what, I really probably should stop and get some water, or get some food refuel or something. But I just ended up just continuing to the supermarket anyway. Then I made it inside the store, and I even sent my greeting and everything, which was terrible. I know it's a horrible thing to do, but I just started getting very dizzy and again dehydrated, and I started feeling nauseous, and I was like, I could probably push through this, but I just really don't feel well, so I canceled on it. And I felt so bad. I apologized to the person before I did. I said, I'm so sorry, due to some, issues. I'm not feeling too well. I'm going to have to cancel. My apologies. So I canceled, and that was that. I ended up getting food. I got some water. I went home for a bit, and I was going to go back out to see if I can get more batches. So I'm scrolling through the app, and I'm trying to see, what pops up. And it happens to be this batch that's 25 items. The store that I normally shop at, which was down the road from me. And just, I was going through all the items, and it just seemed really familiar to me. And I was like, this is odd. Just everything. I feel like I've seen this before. So luckily, I remembered the name of the person I canceled on earlier in the day because I checked and I looked, and it happened to be the same person. So what probably happened is I canceled, and they said, bump it. I'll just put another order in later. Maybe it was a bad time for them. I don't know. But I saw their order come up again, and I was like, oh man, had I had actually accepted this and then they realized I was the person that canceled on them earlier, it probably would have made the trip very awkward. I don't know if they would have tipped. They probably would have tipped horribly or not at all, which is not an issue to me. Tips are not a big issue to me, but I just also didn't want to be that person. So I'm glad that I looked ahead and looked through the groceries and realized it was the same person, because I avoided a big issue. Or maybe not an issue at all. Who knows? But do your best to not cancel, because situations like that, if you're not looking ahead, you could have been in my position and accepted an order that you canceled on before, and it could have been terrible. So try your best to not cancel. If it's not something that's your car or your phone or, your health, anything that's not super, super big deal, try your best to not cancel because it can come back to you later. If you are in a cold weather state where you're going to get blizzards every now and then, like we have right now, there's a way that I guarantee that there will not be snow on my windshield when I come out of a store. I'm going to actually post a picture of it right after this, but I take a fitted sheet and I just put it over my windshield and I stuff it in my two side doors and then, of course, close them. And when I come out, all I do is just take the fitted sheet off and there's no snow. And it's great. It makes getting in your car and over to your client a lot easier. So the picture is coming up right now. Try to familiarize yourself with the different parts of the carts and their functions. The carts are actually built so that you can put different things in different areas, and that really does help you as you shop. Even if you're just shopping for yourself, it helps you be more productive, helps you kind of get organized, and then you can get in and out a lot quicker. So we'll start with the first upper basket. The upper basket is usually for things like breads, things that are a little bit more fragile, so eggs, bread. Sometimes I put deli meat up there because if it's thin sliced, sometimes it can get a little bit squished in the cart depending on what it's near. So things like that I put in the upper bins, the upper basket. The lower basket, the one that's at the very bottom of the cart, usually put things that are heavy, so bottles of water, detergents, boxes of sodas, things of that nature usually go on the bottom so that it saves room in the main basket of the cart. The main basket of the cart is for everything else, but you should actually be separating that as well. It, like I said, it helps you be a lot more productive, faster, get everything all situated to put on the belt later. So the way I usually do it is I keep the cold foods very far away from any hot foods, obviously, so that things don't melt or the integrity of the cold food is kept and the integrity of the hot food is kept. Also, you should be always shopping for your cold food last, your frozen food last. So that kind of plays in that as well. So I would separate those two items far from each other, those two types of items far from each other. And then I would put the non-perishables or any toiletries in the middle separated as well. That's kind of how I distribute all the items in my cart. It makes it super, super, super quick, and you can get in and out and ready for your next batch. I also do the same thing when I'm putting it on the conveyor belt. I separate it how it's separated in the cart. I usually put the frozen foods first, the any produce second, or in the same vicinity, and then I will put the toiletries or the non-perishables, then the hot food, and then sodas or any bulky items last. Sometimes the cashier will come around and help you scan it from your cart. If not, put those last so that you can place them back underneath when you're done loading all your items out of the conveyor belt section. This is just my personal preference. You don't really have to do this if you don't feel comfortable. But what I do is as I'm exiting the store, I would actually say start delivery. So that gives the customer knowledge that you're about to head to their house. It shouldn't take you too long to pack your groceries into your trunk or your back seat because you should have that all organized where your bags are open and ready to go and you just basically put the groceries into your trunk. I rather them, know that I'm on the way quicker than actually putting my groceries in the trunk and then stating that I'm on the way. It just makes it seem like you're that much quicker. So that's just one tip that I think, if you feel like that you're comfortable with doing that, do that. That's what I do. It's great. People think that you're super speedy. And it just makes everything go by more smoothly. Last tip for today is It's actually something that I do that might seem a little bit weird, but it's helped me be so much more productive and faster as I'm shopping. So, you know how sometimes you can see the items that you're looking to shop? Well, if you take a look at the item and you can see the packaging it's in, so say it's a bag of chips that has blue banner at the top with some checkered pattern around it. I kind of take note of those patterns and colors as I'm heading to that aisle, so that as I'm going down the aisle, it also should tell you, around approximately where in the aisle it would be. But as I'm going to the aisle, I look for those colors and patterns so that I can be that much quicker. If I find it and I know that I'm on my way to it, I can grab it, and most of the time that's the item. So I would take a good look at just the characteristics of the item itself, and it could help you spot it a lot quicker. Those are my beginner tips and tricks. I hope this helped you guys out. It really has helped everything go more smoothly and less stressful for me. And I hope you guys take this along your journey and keep sticking with it, because it's great. It's a lot of fun and there's a lot of potential. If any of these tips helped you out, please let me know in the comments below. Please like and subscribe. And hopefully I see you in my next videos and take you along on my next hustles. All right?